Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome again to our mentoring recovery support group. My name is Craig, and as always, it's great to be before you, bringing you some good information. And I hope this information today that I'm going to share with you, I hope it's very informative, and I hope you're able to grab something uh, and put it to use. All right. And so today we're going to bring you an article. I'm going to read from an article from gatewayfoundation.org. You can go online and retrieve this information as well. And so without further ado, let me put on the screen today's title. And today's title is Common Reasons for Relapse and How to Avoid It. All right. Common reasons for relapse and how to avoid it. All right. And so this is our mentoring recovery support meeting. All right. And so this article starts us off by stating recovery from addiction comes with a variety of obstacles and challenges. One of them is dealing with the many physical and emotional. Hey, come on in, brother. Come on in. All right. You can grab that paper right there and you can have a seat right there if you don't mind. All right. And so, excuse me, we have a young man in the building. You want to say your name? This your first name? What's your first name? Kurt. Kurt. All right. So we have Kurt who's here with us. And so he's going to be joining us. And he's fairly new. And so I'm going to take it easy on him this time.
All right.
All right. All right. So I was reading from where you see recovery from addiction. Right at the top page. Recovery from addiction comes with a variety. All right, that's where I'm at. And so I'll start from the top. And so recovery from addiction comes with a variety of obstacles and challenges. One of them is dealing with the many physical and emotional cues, right? Cues is basically signals that one get that arise as people go through life, which results in the desire to pick up the substances they are trying to put down for good. These cues are more commonly known as triggers, right? It's good to be able to identify certain signals, which we call cues, triggers, things that may set us off, all right, to do things in this aspect. That is triggers that will trigger us to relapse. And they may manifest in completely different ways from person to person. Some people experience a whirlwind of emotion when seeing old friends and loved ones, which can trigger the desire to have a drink. Other people may become so stressed out by the push to perform at school or work that they are tempted by the feelings produced by stimulants. All right. So there can be certain events or circumstances where they may cause a person to go back to old behaviors. You know, oftentimes people may be at work and the supervisor, they may get into, supervisor may ask an employee to do a task, and the employee may feel that that might not be their job, and it may escalate into a hostile conversation. And so that could be something be a trigger or a stressful encounter. All right, and so that can be a stimulant. No, okay. No matter the cause, triggers are a natural part of recovery. All right. Expecting triggers and planning to cope with them effectively is the best way to defend against addiction relapse. All right. So let's go into today's topic. All right. So today's topic, one of today's topic, and that is What is an addiction trigger? All right. And so let's see what the article says about what is an addiction trigger. A trigger is an emotional, environmental, or social situation that drags up memories of drug or alcohol use in the past. These memories can stir up strong emotion that lead to the impulse to use a substance again. Triggers do not necessarily lead to relapse, but they do make it harder to resist the sudden cravings they produce. But yeah, very interesting. Addiction is a chronic brain disease, all right, with a relapse rate similar to that of other chronic conditions like diabetes, all right. When people stop their treatment plans for chronic condition, they are more likely to relapse, all right. So if a person who may have diabetes, they stop taking their insulin as prescribed, they may get sick, right? They may have abnormalities. They may have a stroke, right? But we talk about addiction when it comes to drug or alcohol. If one don't stay close to the desired treatment plan or attend some type of recovery support group or meeting, chances are if you run into some type of situation, you may relapse. Not necessary every time. It all depends on the individual if you have good coping skills. When people stop their treatment plans for chronic condition, they are more likely to relapse. Using drugs or alcohol over the long term builds association between a person's daily routine and their experiences with intoxication. As a result, certain cues immediately flip the switch on the association and activate the craving reflex in response to external or internal triggers in recovery. Triggers may decrease in frequencies the longer someone abstains from substance use, but anyone in recovery needs to be prepared to respond appropriately when triggers do arrive. Right? So we all going to face some type of triggers. Some of the common triggers uh, it talked about already come going around old friends who are actively using, going to places where there may be alcohol involved or where they are smoking marijuana. These can be triggers. These can start what they call craving. One desire to, as I stated earlier, to revisit old behaviors or old activity. Let's move on. So we just got to talking about what is an addiction trigger. Let's go to the next topic of discussion. Common relapse triggers. What are some of the common relapse triggers? There are many categories of addiction relapse trigger, and they fall into multiple groups. They can be emotional, environmental, or mental, or often a trigger falls into multiple categories. These are 10 of the most common triggers in addiction recovery, along with quick tips on how to avoid them. So I'm going to read 10 of them. The first one, this article talks about HALT. HALT is basically come from an acronym of hungry, angry, lonely, tired. The HALT acronym helps those in recovery keep an eye on some of the most basic human needs that can lead to or intensify triggers if not fulfilled. Being in any of one of the HALT states reduces a person's ability to cope with stress and increases impulsivity. Do your best to plan meals, engage in mindfulness, seek out social support, and stick to a regular sleep schedule. Doing so will provide a baseline that helps reduce activity to triggers. See how they broke that HALT down? It says, do the best to plan meals, all right, if you're hungry. Engage in mindfulness, right? Seek out social support if you are feeling lonely. Stick to a regular sleep schedule. If you're feeling tired, right? Give us some answers. They give us some tools. They give us some weaponry how to deal with abnormal or maladaptive behavior. Maladaptive is unhealthy behavior. Number two, the second component of common relapse trigger, challenging emotions. All right, negative emotions like sadness, guilt, or anger are often core reason why people begin abusing substances in the first place. When these emotions crop up again during recovery, the brain remembers dealing with them using drugs or alcohol and prompts craving. Right? No one can avoid negative emotions altogether. To keep emotions from causing a relapse, people in recovery need to learn coping skills to avoid triggers that can be discovered through therapy, learning coping skills. And so a lot of this is done through therapeutic exercise. Another component of common relapse triggers, stress. This is one of the major ones. Both chronic and acute stress increase the risk of drug addiction and may be the most common triggers for relapse. Stress is a part of daily life for most people, whether it's being late to work in the morning or tense relation with a loved one. Health problems, increased responsibility, and other events can result in stress that trigger drug craving, right? So these are some mindful things that we have to remember. Some of them are emotions, stress. So it said the only solution to stress is a combination of preventive self-care and employing coping skills whenever you start to feel overwhelmed. So what do you do? Quick question, Curtis. What do you do when you're stressed out? What are some of the healthy things that you do when you feel stressed out? How you respond to stress?
One, try to remove myself from the situation,
Okay, good.
and then try to call somebody or seek support.
Right.
Like try to do that. If I can't do that, I usually get the urge to sit down and seek some kind of satisfaction to counteract the stress. A ride out to the store, go get something like a hot chocolate or something,
Okay.
or just sit down and eat something, a snack or something, just to remove myself from the situation.
Get your mind and just
Yeah,
some that's
remove
going.
myself from the situation. That's important, and then occupy my mind with something else
Something positive.
that's satisfying.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Something. So I like what you said. You go for a ride.
yeah,
You know, and that way, it like you're not only removing your physical self, but you're removing your mental self from the situation
yeah,
within itself.
yeah,
Because now you're not being distracted with all bunch of signals that may be going on at the time.
yeah,
You know, you put yourself in a different environment,
yeah.
then especially if it's say if you was to go and drive and go sit in the park,
Mhm.
you know, you may experience a different atmosphere than the one you just left from.
Yeah.
That's good, man. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. The next component of common relapse trigger recovery, and that is overconfidence and recovery.
Ooh,
Wow, overconfidence and recovery, and we often hear that a lot. A lot of people in this field of being a recovery coach, when we assist someone, say if we assist someone with detox or residential treatment, and they may go to detox for 5 to 7 days, detox anywhere to 30 days. And when they come back after completing the program, they may relapse and we may suggest you may need to do it again. And they will say, man, I'm programmed out, man. You know, this reminds me of overconfidence and recovery. Like, and I don't, I tried it before, it ain't working. Maybe you need to keep trying until something really clicked, something registered, and say, okay, maybe this is where I was going wrong.
Give it another chance.
Give it another chance. That's right. Recovery is a journey with no end. Yet some people begin to feel that they are cured and don't have to worry about triggers anymore. It's important to develop a healthy level of self-confidence, but humility is necessary too. If someone forgets that addiction is a chronic condition, they may be tempted to have just one drink injection, hit or bump, with the expectation that it won't be a big deal. This leads to riskier situations and eventually a full relapse. Staying off this slippery slope is the only way to prevent overconfidence from resulting in relapse. Just say no to any and all consumption of drugs or alcohol. Another component, the fifth component, physical or mental illness. A variety of underlying mental illnesses like depression and anxiety are closely related to addiction and can result in a person experiencing more triggers or more powerful ones. Physical illness and chronic pain also stress the body and can increase the risk of relapse. When you see a doctor or mental health specialist, let them know that you are in recovery. Insisting on non-addictive prescriptions and an alternative to medication can help eliminate a potential source of trigger. Social isolation. This is another major. Many people engaging socially and forming a support system in recovery can feel exhausting. Some people will try to avoid it altogether, which can lead to prolonged isolation and mounting loneliness. Without other people around, it's easier to talk yourself into drug or alcohol use and rationalize it. Struggling with social anxiety is common for people in recovery. So having a sponsor or trusted friend to turn to is a good start in avoiding isolation and its associated triggers, right? Like you just said, maybe you'll call someone and talk to somebody if you're feeling stressed out. Have an accountability partner. A lot of times we have to tell on ourselves and we having those thoughts of using, say, oh man, I'm having this thought, I'm not gonna pick up today. I'm not gonna use. I feel better being my normal self. Sometimes you have to have that self-talk to yourself.
That's right.
You want to add something?
Well, I was thinking, covered a lot of stuff, and
Oh yeah,
a lot of things sound familiar. You gotta read it.
Okay.
I know social isolation. One of the reasons why they might isolate is because they're too ashamed to share their problems.
Yeah.
And shame is a big issue.
Yeah.
And then another one we're talking about. I think we're talking about but the overconfidence. I thought denial.
Denial.
I thought, when we start mentioning social overconfidence, people don't get a cocky attitude. It's really because they're in denial.
Yeah.
They're denying the fact that they have a problem. They don't want to admit it. They're denying it. They're not ready to admit it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Shame and denial.
Yeah.
Oh man, those two big ones right there.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people do feel shameful, especially when it comes to their loved ones, knowing that they have tried something and then they failed at it.
Yeah.
And they may feel that people may be judgmental or look down on them and say, you'll never get it right. Especially if you constantly growing up hearing negative talk, you begin to take on that as your character as a failure, And so we must counteract that with positive influence. And no, you're not a failure.
They need a lot of that kind of person, needs more than just abstinence. They're going to need therapy for a long time. But the kind of therapy they're going to need is going to be not so much character, but personality development. Developmental therapy. You're going to need something like that. And that's pretty strong because, like you said, some of them grow up with being told things that are negative, so they have a very bad perspective of themselves. Very bad perspective. They have a very negative perspective. Some of them, they just go and talk to some of them and you hear a whole different perspective. Wow.
Yeah.
And you don't know how to reach them. Like, how do I reach that?
That's why it's always suggested, even as a recovery coach, even as reading these type of articles, it's always suggested that people seek professional help. You said a therapist, you said therapy, but a therapist who are trained in that arena is able to assist them a little further because they have the training, they have the education, they have the tools that it would take to really dig a little deeper. This here is a recovery support group, so I'm not a counselor, sponsor, therapist, or a doctor, so I can only help someone with recovery capital, and that is to help people once they come out of treatment, show them or help them navigate back to a healthy lifestyle, employment, going to see a doctor, talking to your sponsor, or having a recovery plan. What are the things that you're working on? What's your short-term goals, mid-range, long-term? These are the things I can assist with because I went through the process myself. But let's get back.
A lot of steps. Some might take a year.
Yeah.
Some, like you said, but it's a never-ending thing, really.
Yeah, that's right. It's a journey. It's definitely a journey. All right. This one right here, this one I'm about to share, this component here, it talks about romantic relationships. And when I went to a NA group, I remember sitting inside the room and they would share with us that people who are in early recovery, they shouldn't try to link up with a significant other so early, because that can more or less sometimes lead back to old behaviors, especially when you're not ready. You need to work on yourself. They say at least over a year. Get yourself together first. Don't worry about that. That'll come. And so let's see what the article says about romantic relationships. Anyone who has been through a breakup through the emotional fortitude required to move on with life, on top of the upheaval associated with addiction recovery, romantic relationship can create devastating ties of emotion that makes a person feel lost and out of control, both powerful drug addiction relapse triggers. There is no need to remain single forever, but actively choosing to avoid romantic relationship for at least the first year of recovery is a good rule of thumb.
I like to change that word good to great rule of thumb.
Right? To a great rule of thumb.
Great.
Yeah, because I remember talking to one of the clinical supervisors that works for this department, and I was talking about a certain individual, and the person I was explaining to the supervisor that I was speaking with the individual, and the individual was telling me that they was going through something with a family member, and that's why they relapsed. And the supervisor immediately identified what that form of relapse was. She said it's situational relapse. When people go through situations and then they don't know how to cope or respond, then they relapse.
Mm.
I said, situation? She said, yeah. I probably heard it, but it didn't register until I heard it from her.
Wow.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of, some individuals takes more than others.
Mm-hmm.
And it's different. Everybody's different. You got a lot of different people in recovery. You
Yeah.
got some who got confidence, they got self-confident, can't tell them nothing. Some of them, just going to do it. You can talk to them till you're blue in the face.
Yeah.
But there's a few that will take heed to it.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the creeds, the NA creed, was many will not make it, but many will. Many will. Only a few. I think what this was a prick. We had to read it every time we go to NA meeting.
Okay.
Like a preamble, and they said most would not get it. Unfortunately, you're gonna see many people who are gonna try, but just don't get it. And I think it has a lot to do with, trying to get a little bit of clean time, push the cart before the horse, so to speak. You want to just can't rest and look that. I know it's tough. It's tough because we all have experiences in that same situation.
Yeah. Some people, unfortunately, there are people who grasp it the first time or recovery, you picking it up, using it, and won't use it again. And then there's others who may go through the recovery process and grab hold on the tools. And then there are some, unfortunate, because of the disease of addiction, whatever may come along the line.
I just could not imagine. I just met someone in their 60s who's still using.
Yeah.
And I said, is there ever a time when you just get too old to do that kind of stuff? I guess not. And then people go to jail for a whole year or more. And you think, okay, well, he had a year to be clean and sober. So you think you come out, you'll be all right. And within a week, they're using.
Yeah.
So how did that happen? You had it clean.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's a lot of factors, underlying factors, because a lot of times within this field, we come to learn that some people not only suffer from the substance abuse, but also mental illness. And if they've never been assessed or diagnosed with the disease of addiction or treated for the mental illness, so now you may think it's just only the substance abuse, but it may be some mental illness component with that. And so we have to really it's a lot to it to unravel. Yeah.
It's a multiple dimension program.
Yeah. So that's why we work so hard. That's why, when we're able to help someone be successful and walk the straight and narrow, it's a good feeling to know that somebody really is gonna make it, and then be able to give back to somebody so that they can make it. So each one reach one. Next component of common relapse trigger, and that is new jobs and promotion. Wow, you'll say to yourself, well, person just got a new job and a promotion. Let's find out some of the common relapse trigger for this one. It's not just negative events that can result in addiction relapse trigger. Excuse me. Getting a new job or earning a promotion can trigger a relapse in a couple of different ways. For one, you might be tempted to use again just this once as a means of celebrating. Now I get it. So now you don't got a promotion, you got a new job. Now you've been struggling with substance abuse. You want to celebrate. Just one. That's a no-no. Planning sober, right? So it says planning sober festivity is one good way to stay on track. Excuse me. All right. There's also the stress and pressure associated with new or greater responsibility. Having to learn new skills and perform well in a new role can lead to anxiety and stress. So new challenges. So basically it's saying, when one is faced with new challenges, one may get super excited and want to celebrate. And then when it comes to learning new skills, being asked to meet a deadline or complete a task within a certain deadlines, you may feel that it may be overwhelming. And so that may trigger someone to relapse because they may feel that if they don't get it done and that they fail, that's one thing I learned about when you put yourself to a task, and if you fail at it, don't allow that to keep you down, because there's a learning lesson in failure. And one of the learning lessons is not to do that the same way that you did before, right? So that's one thing about recovery and addiction. Once you get on the recovery path, you learn what not to do. I'm just keeping focused on myself. I had to learn what not to do, who certain people, group of people that I cannot be around, because I know that can be a trigger for me.
I had to go through this sick and tired. I had to go through the what do you call it? Rock bottom. Sort of like close to it. Almost, you might as well say rock bottom was homeless shelter, and not working. And that was, to me, that was like the worst. Rock bottom. That was enough. I said, all right, this is done. And I still had hope. That was a good thing.
Right.
I thank God that I still had a job that was pending.
Good.
I still had, credentials that I could use. I still had some things that I still had available. So that gave me inspiration to go, okay, maybe I should just turn this thing around. And I got some things that I can do. I know it's a big difference for me, because that will help people. But the individuals up there who actually flat, nothing, almost hopeless, they don't have anything, it's hard to tell them to try again. It's hard to tell them keep on trying. It's hard to tell them because they don't see it. It's harder for them to see any hope for success, because they don't really have nothing there, foundation. And talking about new tools and learn new skills.
Yeah.
Even if you gave them a job, they would have to learn new skills to keep the job.
Yeah.
Or even if you gave them an apartment, you have to learn new skills to keep the apartment.
That's right. Management skills.
They give them a job, give them an apartment, they still mess up because they don't have the skills to keep that.
And that's one of the good things about a support system. Like you said, when a person hit rock bottom and don't have nothing, they can't see beyond what is present. They can't see a future unless they have some type of support system. We use the term hand holding. Whereas some people who may, let's say, may have dropped out of school, whatever age it was or whatever grade it was, they dropped out of school and they started using drugs. They've been incarcerated. They don't have nothing. These group of people may need a little more hand holding. And what that means, they're going to need more support. So they need someone to take time, more time with them through the process, as opposed to a person who may just made bad choices, but have the mental capacity to learn a quick mind. They're able to, you show them how to put something together, they catch on the second or third time. But the person who may have dropped out of school, I don't want to keep saying drop out of school, because there's some brilliant people, but some people just don't catch on fast.
Some of them have what they call resigned. And they have in their mind, subconsciously, they resign from everything.
Resign.
Yes, they just.
I like that. I like that
yes,
word. Yeah.
They decided.
Gave up.
Yeah, they decided it ain't worth it. No matter what you say, I know it sounds good, but it just ain't. It's easier for me. And they actually gave up. I mean, you would think that they love life more than death. You would think that, but some of them actually choose where they are.
Yeah.
Even unto death.
Resign.
I was like, oh, wow.
I like that word, resign, because when you say resign, because there's some significant truth to that. And then there is resilience. You know, some people, like you said, resign. Then there are some people who have the resiliency to bounce back. So I like that. All right. I'm gonna put that in my pocket. All right.
All right.
All right. I thank you for that one. Well, so this lesson here, or this article here, has a lot of valuable information. Like I stated in the beginning of this article is brought to us by gatewayfoundation.org. If you would like to receive this article or retrieve this article, please go online and get it. The title is Common Reasons for Relapse and How to Avoid It. Right? We didn't get all the way through it, but trust me, if you go online and get this article or just look at it, you'll be impressed of how much information that can assist all of us when it comes to relapse. Until next time, my name is Craig. I have with us today Kurt. And so Kurt joined us today. He is someone, now you studying for your CPRS?
Yeah.
All right. And so he is one who is studying to be a certified peer recovery specialist. All right. And so join us next week, same time. We love to have you. Comment, let us know what you think about today's segment. All right. Until the next time, take care. Enjoy your day. Let me log out of here.